when we open up the charts, asking the question about which direction we are going, this is something which we should not neglect. Right now, the chart actually shows you on a weekly, this is the total altcoin market, excluding Ether, showing you that this trend line has been valid from June 2022, which means there is a higher odds that the RSI may come down to this range. Now, yes, the RSI here needs to reach 44 and it's right now at 54. Whereas, if you take your attention back to the market, the entire crypto market, right now, you watch that the RSI on the weekly is at 60 and it's at 55. The trend line support is at 55. So you don't have too much to drop to that trend line support for the entire market. But for most of the altcoins, you do see that. If you look at XRP, it's something on its own. You're not above this trend line. You broke that to the downside. You're making a flag, which is actually good. This kind of falling wedge just kind of gives you a thought process of, okay, bullish, but we don't know when it's going to break to the upside. But then you look at Ether. Then you look at Bitcoin. So the market kind of is now distributed into different segments. And this is something you should not forget. Because each and every time since the June 22nd mark, whenever you hit this trend line, you have bounced off. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. When you're watching the Bitcoin chart here, don't be confused that it is forming this kind of a structure on the weekly chart. When Bitcoin weekly is showing you this candle is now erasing last 2 weeks of bullish activity, and it's trying to erase the third week, which is at 66,000. Thought process of the panic, the fear, it should come into the market. But remember, if you understand the history of what it was doing, you're not in a panic mode. Because even at the 69,000 plus range, we shared this thought process, right? It was like, 3 days back, and the price was still at that time. People were looking for a bullish break to the upside and a continuation. But our argument was this. All of these times from 2023 April, May, we have made these double top kind of a formation saying, I'm making a top, but then it continued going up. So the bears who were going ultra short, they got wrecked. And this was not once. It happened repeatedly again and again and again. So will this be different this time around? Because you also saw the possibility that this can be something just like the 2021 range. So you don't want to miss on those possibilities, but you do want to capitalize on what the market is showing you right now. So when you zoom a little bit in, say a 3-day chart of Bitcoin, it shows you we are still holding on to the moving average, which is a positive stuff because you're still holding on to the micro level of support. If you plot that, it would look somewhat like this. You're still holding on to that. It is positive. MACD is still in the positive territory, which is great. But when you do zoom out, you do understand the fact that, okay, we have to see something like this, at least a retest of 62, and then a bounce break to the upside. It's great. But for all of that to happen, you need a reversal sign. And we are here on a daily. Until and unless a daily candle shows you a reversal sign at that support, watch for the downside, right? And that's coming just back to the trend line You're not going deep back down to 10,000, 5,000 range. You're looking at a healthy retracement. And this is where when you look at Ether and the altcoin market, you need to understand the Ether weekly chart shows you this was the trend line which we were following. This was the horizontal resistance back then. So you literally had this chop, right? Great. One pattern which was clear that broke to the upside. After which, now you're starting to form this range as a resistance. Perfect. What is the next possibility? What if you're doing something like what you see? So both are triangle patterns. What if the measured move is to happen? See, last time around, I guess it was like, 170, 100%, fine. And then with the breakout here, you actually did almost close, 99%. So the breakout to the measured move was almost perfect. Keeping that in mind, if you look at the current measured move, it shows you 71% after the break. So if Ether is to break that trend line, what are you really looking at? You're talking about a 70% run to the upside, which is 6,600 plus 6,600 for Ether. And that's a good starting point because at that mode, you're still here. You're just starting. Remember, we never saw this kind of a FOMO euphoria entering into the market. We saw some bullishness, some people turning bullish, some people still remaining bearish. All of those we just saw. But we never saw the FOMO. Yes, in few assets, few small cap assets, we actually saw these kind of pump, accumulation, reaccumulation, markup, burst, everything. But not in the major assets. And that segment of the market is now showing you this. If you are to capitalize on that and you're looking at XRP, either you're a long-term bull, a perma bull on this asset who is willing to accumulate this as long as it takes. Otherwise, you need a break to the upside. There's no way around this. Yes, you are in the accumulation mode, which broke to the upside. Perfect. Now, reaccumulation. This is where we are right now. So we went through the accumulation. We went through this long in the reaccumulation. A break to the upside is that signal which we need. As of now, we don't have that. So we go back to the general market. If the altcoin market as a whole needs to come down, that means Bitcoin is also slowing down. The crypto market slowing down, clean. Bitcoin, Ether, most of these tokens are going to slow down. Remember, the thought process of what the market shows you should be considered with the historical understanding. The negative divergence should come up, and that should be a signal for you to say, this is where I should be doubling down. Last time around, the negative divergence gave you that clear-cut idea that the market started pushing in more money into the alt segment. So if you do see a drop in Bitcoin, that's kind of repeating the history, 20-22% to the upside. Let's be accurate. Let's zoom in, measure it from the top to the bottom, and what do we see? Yeah, here we are, 26% to the downside. And that's exactly where the negative divergence was confirmed. So if you put that into perspective, the price should drop at least to 22%, which is like 57 to 58. But if history is to repeat, then you're talking about a 26% to the downside, which is $54,000. But most likely you don't have that room looking at the RSI and the MACD. Which means you're still looking at the price range of 60,000, 59,000. That's cool. And that's where your RSI should reach this range on a weekly chart for Bitcoin. What matters the most is this. The next bounce in Bitcoin, which was like 45-50% run up, even XRP did 500%. So yes, XRP did drop 50%, while Bitcoin dropped that leg to the downside for the negative divergence. It was 26% for Bitcoin, but it was 52% for XRP. So that drop is visible here, and that should be, if Bitcoin is to drop to complete that negative divergence, you will see something similar here. But then what matters is when Bitcoin goes up, how much does it go up? If it goes up by 50%, you're going to look at 5 to 8x run up directly in a lot of different alts. Even Ether back then, which already went up substantially at that time, had the drop here, which followed Bitcoin like 40%, better than XRP, but still, when it ran up, it only ran up to 50%. Yeah, that's still a good move compared to Bitcoin, 5 times more, but XRP did double this. So you actually get an idea. When something is already in that FOMO territory, it already entered here, now you don't have too much upside. It's kind of high risk environment. Whereas when you were still here at that choppy part, which is this, because if you look at XRP at that time, you will have to agree on one thing. This particular drop in the market was that drop, right? This one, a bear trap. And then it went right back up, which is what this actually clearly shows you, right? The 1, the 2, and you kind of go through the roof. But that happened without a lot of exchanges participating, with a ton of exchanges delisting, without that amount of volume being able to push in to XRP. This time around, you have a lot of news. The news cycle is strong. Everything looks positive on the fundamental side. You have exchanges relisting this asset, which means manipulative movement should be high as well. But as soon as you see the negative divergence and a rush to the altcoins, XRP should also get that momentum. Yes, it is true that we are watching that stress is mounting on the banking segment, which means people should start taking money off the banks, maybe gold, maybe silver, maybe crypto, but it's going to go into assets. It may not stay in the fiat as we know. See, these are some people from high-end investing side of the world. And they are kind of giving you the structure. They are kind of arguing this is the direction where the market is going. Yes, they're not giving you the nuts numbers like, a million, 2, 3 kind of things, which others are giving you within the next 5 years, 10 years. But here, the thought process of $300,000 Bitcoin is being given within 2030 kind of range, which is okay. If it happens, it's going to be good. But as of now, you need to understand these are the giants in the industry from Fidelity giving you the idea of where it's going to go. They don't care about the micro volatility. It's the retail who gets flushed. It's the retail who go through that negative emotions during that time. If you are to panic and to react with everything what the market does, that may not end well. So let's actually look through the noise of the market and try to stay relevant and ride it till the top. And if you want help for that, to get these kind of charts at the right time, be in the Scientific Investor family. You can use this link in the description below, or else in the bio of Twitter. Guys, if you haven't smashed that like button yet, I would request do that for me. Smash it. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.